Do you ever notice that after 40, your energy levels just don't feel the same? You're still as motivated, you're still as driven, you're still as disciplined, but everything just feels a little bit harder. Most guys chalk this up to getting older, but unless you're 70 years old, it's more likely that there's an imbalance between your hormones, neurotransmitters, different brain chemicals, and your overall stress load. In today's video, I'm going to show you why your strength, energy, and drive often decrease after 40, and how you can turn it around so you can keep on going strong into your 60s and do this naturally. More importantly, I'm going to show you how power training can help you to burn fat while maintaining muscle, optimize your hormones, and feel more athletic again after 40. My name is Aaron Kubitz. I'm the founder of Functional Aesthetics of Eau Claire. I have over 2 decades of experience helping guys with demanding schedules to get lean, stay strong, and perform better in life without living in the gym. For men over 40, poor recovery, lower energy, and drive are often the symptoms of dysregulated hormones and neurotransmitters. Low testosterone, low growth hormone, elevated cortisol, and then dysregulated dopamine, serotonin in relationship to cortisol, which ultimately all affect one another. In men for a healthy man, his testosterone levels and overall hormones should not change too much until his early 70s. But for guys who are not getting enough sleep, not managing their stress, not moving their bodies enough, and eating a poor diet, this decrease in testosterone levels can drop by 1% every year after the age of 30 and accelerate after the age of 50. Growth hormone levels can drop 15% every decade after the age of 30 if you're not doing the above activities. Disruptions and dysregulation in neurotransmitters such as dopamine, serotonin, and cortisol can leave you with decreased motivation, decreased drive, decreased energy, cognitive function, and your ability to get a good night's sleep and feel energized during the day. Lastly, decreasing levels of testosterone and growth hormone can inhibit your ability to both burn body fat efficiently and recover effectively after your workouts, and also build and repair lean muscle tissue. So that's the bad news. The good news is that most of you don't need synthetic hormones, even peptides, although in certain instances those things might be useful, but most of you before the age of 70 don't need all these things to look, feel, and perform like a strong, capable man. Instead, you need to eat, train, and recover like a strong, capable man would. Once you have these basics of adequate or proper nutrition for your training style and your life, adequate quality and quantity of sleep, and then a strategy for managing your stress load, because again, if you live in the world, if you're alive, you are going to be exposed to stress. So the key is not to eliminate the stress. Sometimes we add unnecessary stress into our lives just based upon our habits, but there is a certain amount of stress that is unavoidable. So the key is to implementing strategies to helping you to manage that stress so that it doesn't overwhelm you. Once you have those things in place, power training is one of the most effective tools to help keep you strong, sharp, mentally clear, strong, and powerful well into your 60s and beyond. So before we move on, I better explain what is power, right? Or power training. Well, strength is how much force you can produce, like a 1 rep max deadlift, bench press, or a squat. Endurance is how long you can produce that force. And power is how fast you can produce that force. As I've stated in other videos, different forms of exercise all have specific benefits that you can derive from them. And that's why I believe that everybody should incorporate endurance training, some hypertrophy work, some strength work, some power work into their overall training plan. And as I've said in other videos, your genetics, your specific fitness goals, and your lifestyle, the context in which you live, all play a role in the relative weight that each of these plays. So Endurance training, cardiovascular training, muscular endurance training are great for improving insulin sensitivity, improving your resistance to fatigue, as well as improving heart health. But did you know that power training is even as effective, if not more effective, than aerobic exercise like walking and jogging for improving the health of your heart and your cardiovascular system? We'll get more into that in some later videos. Bodybuilding and powerlifting are great for increasing the strength of your bones, your testosterone, IGF-1, some growth hormone, right? But power training is not only helps you to burn fat like cardiovascular exercise does, it also helps you to increase your insulin sensitivity. And it does this without the spike in cortisol and other catabolic hormones, which tend to break down muscle tissue, right? So you can go and run for an hour and you can burn a lot of calories, but if you're doing running for an hour every day, you tend to also be increasing levels of catabolic as opposed to anabolic hormones, right? Things like cortisol, right? And you're sending the signal to your body to get smaller and more efficient. In fact, Ryan Hall, the Olympian, stopped doing a lot of long distance running because his testosterone levels were getting so low from the extremely high volume of training that he was doing. So power training can provide many of the same heart health benefits, fat loss benefits, in fact, in some cases, better benefits than aerobic training can, and it also stimulates anabolic hormones, testosterone, growth hormone. In fact, the best way to improve levels of growth hormone through exercise is with power training, sprinting, jumping, Olympic lifting, throwing bags, kicking, punching, and stuff like that. One of the best ways to improve growth hormone. It will also help you to increase testosterone, not to the same level that powerlifting or strongman training will, but it will help to increase testosterone, help to increase growth hormone, which in turn help you to maintain and even increase lean muscle and strength, as opposed to the cardiovascular training, which burns a lot of calories, helps you to burn fat more efficiently, increases insulin sensitivity, but also sends a signal to your body to get smaller and more efficient at utilizing those calories for longer periods of time, which, if you want to be an elite endurance athlete, are good adaptations, right? It's the principle or the SAID principle, right? Specific adaptation to imposed demands. Our body is going to adapt to the environment that we subject it to most frequently. But for the average guy who's busy, and because the number one thing that they say is, I don't have enough time to train, right? Do you want to spend that hour of your day? A lot of guys don't even have an hour to train, but are you going to spend that hour just doing cardiovascular exercise, or do you want to do something that's going to help to improve the strength of your bones, increase your tendon and ligament strength, increase your agility, improve your cognitive function, increase your anabolic hormones, and help to support lean muscle and strength, all in under 20 minutes of training? In fact, just 6 sprints can help to increase your metabolism for 24 to 48 hours after that bout of sprinting. In addition to increasing levels of growth hormone, testosterone, sprint training, or power training in general, can help to increase levels of adrenaline as well. And adrenaline not only gives you more energy, it also helps to burn body fat, mobilize it for energy, helps to burn carbohydrates as well. This, when you get the combination of growth hormone, testosterone, and adrenaline, it helps you to burn body fat efficiently, stay sharp mentally, increase your lean muscle and strength, all of which help you to perform better as a man. In fact, sprint training, power training is much more effective at burning visceral fat than other forms of exercise. And it's been shown that guys with higher testosterone levels are able to burn visceral fat or store less visceral fat than guys with less testosterone. If both guys are eating the exact same amount of calories. Alright, so hopefully I've sold you on the benefits of power training. But how do you get started? And most importantly, since your tendons and ligaments are less resilient as a guy over 40 than they were in your 20s and 30s, and if you haven't been training for power or even training exercising regularly at all, how do you prevent getting injured when you're starting a power program? So I'm going to give you a couple of examples of good ways to start. So you could do something like a simple standing broad jump. But the thing is, you're not going to go all out trying to set a world record with your broad jump. Instead, what you're going to want to do is start off with 3 submaximal jumps. Rest maybe 60 seconds in between each jump. You're just going to start on the first one. You just jump at a comfortable distance. That feels pretty easy to do, right? You can also perform a few squats in place, maybe even squatting down, spending some time on the balls of your feet just to warm up those lower portions of the body, right? So you're going to do that, and then after you rest 60 seconds, jump a little bit farther with a little bit more intensity, but not all out, and then rest again and do one more, okay? Then you're going to rest maybe 2 minutes or so, and then repeat that. But this time, you're going to go jump at, close to your full potential. Granted, you want to bear in mind, how did those first couple of jumps feel? If those first couple of jumps felt like, I don't know, I'm feeling like I'm kind of on the edge of tearing something or whatever, then if you do some other jumps, you can either leave it at that for that day, allow your body to rest, get stronger, come back to it the next week, or you can, if you're, depending on how you're feeling, go and do the 3 subsequent sets of jumps. And those 3 subsequent sets of jumps will either be at a moderate intensity or a higher intensity depending on how the body's feeling. Over time, you can increase the intensity of what you're doing. But remember, when you're doing power training, the goal is not about fatigue like it is with endurance stuff, right? Because that actually is a good recipe for injuring yourself. If you're doing a bunch of box jumps or something like that, you're doing a bunch of jumping, and you're doing it until exhaustion, you're going to be much more likely to injure yourself. So instead, keep it explosive, keep it crisp, make sure that you are recovered in between so that you can give it a full effort, okay? For the upper body, you could do things like medicine ball toss. You can, if you have an empty field or something like that behind your house and you just want to grab a rock, you can throw the rock over your head, do that a couple times, and that can suffice for upper body stuff. There's so many different things you can do for upper body, but that's just one example. You're going to follow the same protocol, and because you're using a little bit smaller muscle groups and a lighter load when you're doing this, maybe resting 60 to 90 seconds. The more fit you get, the more powerful you get, then you're going to want to rest 2 to 3 minutes in between these all-out efforts. In the beginning, you just don't have the capacity to fatigue your body and your nervous system that much, so shorter rest periods can be fine. If you want to even improve your results even more, then you can do something that's called contrast training, which is something that we do inside of my hybrid strength program. I have 3 of them actually, 3 hybrid strength programs, but contrast training. So this is what you're going to do. Let's say, and when you're doing contrast training, you want to make sure that the power, it's basically you're coupling a compound strength movement with a power movement, and you want to use similar movement patterns. So for example, if you were doing squats, you wouldn't want to go and then do like a explosive upper body movement or something like that. You'd want to use the similar muscle groups and movement pattern that you were using in the squat. So if you're doing a squat, you want to do the squat and then going and doing a jump. So for example, you can do this for the posterior chain, the back side of your body, your hamstrings, your glutes, your back, right? So we're going to do a ladder with deadlifts. You start off at like 75% of your 1 rep max, do 10 repetitions of the deadlift, bump it up to 80% of your 1 rep max, and do 7 repetitions, then bump it up to 90% of your 1 rep max, do 5 repetitions, and then the final one is going to be 95% of your 1 rep max, and you're going to do 3 repetitions. Make sure that you're resting about 2 minutes between the first and the second set, and then the third set, and then that last set you can play it by ear, but you can rest as long as 3 minutes. So 2 to 3 minutes in between each set, and then after you've completed all this, rest for a minute or 2. Make sure you're fully ready to go, and then you're going to go and do 3 maximal standing broad jumps. So you're going to jump as far as you can, rest about 60 seconds to 2 minutes depending on what your conditioning level is. Remember, you want to make sure there's not too much fatigue involved here in between these jumps. So rest enough so that you're not breathing super heavily, you feel like you're ready to go, and then jump. And you're just going to do 3 of those, resting a short amount of time. This entire workout will take you, including the rest periods and the warm-up, will take you about 15 to 20 minutes to complete. And unlike going out for a jog for an hour or doing just a bodybuilding workout or something like that, you're going to get the increased levels of growth hormone, testosterone, adrenaline. You're going to get stronger, you get more powerful, you increase your mental clarity, and you're going to increase your aerobic, your cardiovascular health as well, all in under 20 minutes. As I said earlier in the video, all forms of training, bodybuilding, powerlifting, jogging, calisthenics, all have benefits. But by their own, or that's the only form of training that you do, you're going to leave a lot of health and performance benefits on the table. In fact, one of the surprising things that I was surprised to learn about power training, or even especially sprint training, is that it helps you to improve mobility, right? And joint health and integrity, right? This is one thing, actually one of the reasons why a lot of guys avoid doing explosive work is because they're worried about their joints as they get older, right? And in fact, if you progress it appropriately, it is one of the best things you can do to keep your joints healthy. It also helps to improve your mobility. With sprint training, you're getting that hip extension here, so you're getting mobility through the hips, right? You are getting mobility in the shoulders, and then because when you're running fast and the arms are coming up like this and the leg drive, you're also rotating through the torso like this. So you're getting this thoracic mobility going on as well. Becoming a bodybuilding champion or powerlifting champion might require anywhere between 4 to 6 days a week in the gym. So oftentimes spending more than an hour per time in there. If you want to be good at running marathons, if you want to do ultra running, you're also going to have to spend a lot of time in the gym and on the road training for these things. It also takes a lot of time prepping the food and recovering. Now this stuff might look good and hardcore for social media. It might be aspirational, but one of the biggest reasons that men say that they don't exercise consistently is because they say they don't have enough time. And this is often because they're confusing what is needed for health and above average strength and energy with elite athletic performance, right? When you're doing the contrast training, like I described before, you're getting the health benefits for your cardiovascular, right? So doing this style of training, you get similar benefits to going out and running 3 or 4 miles, except you're also getting the strength benefits, right? You're getting the benefits for your bones. You're getting the boost in testosterone, growth hormone, and adrenaline to help you burn fat more efficiently and build muscle better. You are also helping to improve your cognitive function, the mental clarity, also the drive and executive function that you get from heavy lifting. You're getting all these different benefits, and you can get it in under 20 minutes. So unlike going out there and burning a bunch of calories when you're going out there, that same amount of time, you get the benefits of going for a run, doing the powerlifting stuff, and even some of that bodybuilding effect in just this 20-minute period. So guys, before I close out this video, I want to know from you, if you are familiar with power training, if you're doing any sort of power training yourself, what is your favorite way to train for power? Do you like doing, explosive kettlebell snatches, kettlebell circuits like that? Do you do Olympic lifting? Do you like to do sprint training, jumping? What are you doing? Maybe you're in the martial arts or mixed martial arts, which actually isn't purely power training, but it's a mix of a little bit of strength, a little bit of endurance, and power. You got to blend those things together. Let me know in the comments below, what is your favorite way to train power? If you've never trained power before, which form of power training are you most interested in learning more about? Let me know in the comments below. And in the meantime, if you got value out of this video, go ahead and smash that like button. If you would like to see more content related to workout design for either building muscle, athletic performance, losing body fat, and also nutrition for how to build muscle, shed body fat, improve athletic performance, how to avoid getting injuries in the gym, and if you do get those injuries, how to work around them, then this is the channel for you. The channel to help guys over 40 to become strong, lean, and resilient, even with less than ideal circumstances, less than ideal training time. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all next time for more health and fitness information.